Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Good morning for my East Coasters. Good afternoon. I usually don't have a live at this time, but I don't know about you, but with daylight savings, as soon as 6 p.m. rolls around, I am ready to start just wrapping things up, slowing down, and just chilling, right? So I wanted to come to you when I still had this energy for today's chat, where we are talking about the standards of healing. And if you are currently within your own self-development and self-discovery journey, wanting to learn more about yourself, wanting to understand your emotions, your thoughts some more, to come to a place of to be healed in a sense. And even this word, I feel kind of not 100% sure about, because it's not necessarily that something is wrong with us that we need to heal, that we need to, I don't know. The words aren't coming to me, but it's just something that I feel a little strange about when I hear the word healing. And I know that the title is The Standards of Healing, but that's the thing. There is no standard to your healing, or how I like to really view it as is you coming back to yourself, you coming back to the state, not only the state, but just the emotions, the way of being, the energy that you express, that you coming back to that energy, the emotions, the thoughts, your state of being that you've always had, but you may have lost along the way. So today we're talking about that, this belief around how reconnecting to yourself or healing, however it feels good for you to identify your own journey with. I'm just talking about from my preferences, but how you believe, whichever word you like to identify with, really dissecting that apart, dissecting this journey that we go on, and what is the standard, how should it look like? Because I feel like we don't hear about that enough. We hear about, it being difficult. We hear about, well, not so much about it being difficult, but just about it being worth it despite it feeling difficult and heavy. And also we also hear a lot about being positive and how your mindset attracts that which you are at energetically. So if you're thinking positively, then positive things are going to come your way. If you're thinking negative, negative things come your way. But it's so much deeper than that to really make the most around the energy that we have around us, the energy that allows us to actually attract, to manifest our desires, the energy around the law of attraction, and how that is a real thing that we can tap into. But when we're so caught up in kind of like the surface level of what this standard of healing should look like, or what we believe it should look like based on, what we see out there on social media, in books, and so on, all these resources that we take up, we consume. So we are here on a short little live, so join me as you start hopping on. Let me know where you're located in the world. My name is Bree, by the way, if this is the first time you're coming across my space, my Thrive with Bree space. Welcome to the community. I am an empowerment coach, and I support women, well, just adults, right? Not just women, but women and men. So adults, in really dissecting their emotions, their beliefs, so they can attain emotional and mental freedom. And yes, that is true. It is real to have emotional and mental freedom. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is why I turned 30 this month, so woohoo, that I am sharing 29 lessons that I have gained throughout my 20s that has helped me really reach this level of emotional and mental freedom, no matter what is happening. Because it's not to say that you will reach a certain state of freedom, like I like to call it, internally, and that everything's perfect and nothing is wrong. That is not the case. It is what I mean to say by reaching a state of emotional and mental freedom is you being able to manage the ups and downs, the unexpected things in life with ease, without feeling the impulsivity I sometimes make up words here. I sometimes make up words. So let's see what comes up. But the impulsivity that you get to do something, to fix something, rather than giving yourself the opportunity to take a step back, to really check in with yourself first before you take that action. That is a sense of freedom, because you're not feeling all this tension and this anxiety pushing you to take action, to change something of some sort. So that is, in a nutshell, what I provide as an empowerment coach. So today's live is, today is lesson 8, because we are on the 8th of November, about this standard of healing. And really, I also want to say, just as we explore this, what we're ultimately doing is creating a different perspective, shifting your perspective around what you've currently thought about how healing, or shifting your energy, reconnecting and coming back to yourself should look like. And anything that I say is just based on my own opinions, what has worked for me and what has worked for my clients. So it really comes down to you to make that decision, whether or not you're going to adopt this perspective, or maybe if a perspective shift that I'm sharing with you will help you broaden your mind to create a different perspective shift that maybe I didn't necessarily think of, but came from my a thought that I was sharing that sparked something within you that felt more aligned, or created a perspective shift that felt more aligned for you and who you are as a person, right? Because not all of our perspective shifts are going to be the same, because we're all different and we all have different values and view the world differently as well. So pretty much this lesson for today around the standards of healing, really, I was inspired by this based on a beautiful individual that I've come into contact with recently, who said to me, and I even wrote it down, that the state of positivity and warm energy that I have and that I show and that I display, that it gives her hope that she will also be in this position in the future. And this comment has really been just like running through my mind, because it makes me feel, and there's so many things that just came up for me about this, the standard of healing, the standard of reconnecting to yourself and being in this place, or getting to the place that you ultimately desire to be in, especially in this moment where you find yourself in some sort of transition, the end of a relationship, moving, a loss of a job, all these big transitions, or all these life transitions that you currently face yourself, that you're currently in. It feels heavy. There's a lot of uncertainty, right? I don't even have to tell you. You know what you feel. And I know how you feel, because I have been there myself as well. Leaving an abusive and toxic relationship, and then figuring out what was next for myself, who I even was after that person. So these transitions always bring you into this point of questioning, where you can either get or gain new insight about yourself, because ultimately you are the creator of your life, and being that you are the creator of your life, that means that you can create positive and different and new and healthy experiences, and you can also create negative, unserving experiences. And there's no judgment here, but it's just for you to have that awareness that it's like you can literally create both of these experiences if you allow yourself to, right? So remembering that you are the creator of your life, and when you are in this moment of transition where everything feels so heavy, that you feel the pull to go back to your old reality, or the reality that you're currently transitioning out of, right? That's why you're in this life transition. You're thinking about a situation has ended, that you're thinking about it feels safer, it feels easier almost to go back, because that is what's so familiar. And now you're entering this new territory, that you're in this limbo about what to do. But ultimately, you being in this limbo is you deep down inside in your subconscious, knowing that there is a different way of being. You might not know what that's going to look like exactly, but the fact that you're in this transition, in this limbo, is showing that you are ready to take a chance on yourself. You are ready to listen more to your intuition and let that guide you towards what is the next step for you to continue to overcome and reclaim this transition, where this transition doesn't hinder you or make you less than, or makes you rethink your value. This transition actually reminds you of your value and everything that you're worth and everything that you're working towards and everything that you desire to experience, and how you are worthy enough for all of that. So this comment pretty much reminded me of that even though you may not be in the position that you want to be, who says that you're not in the position already to experience more of this positivity or this warm energy or the joy or the abundance, whatever it is, whatever emotion and mindset that you believe to be true for you, that you believe, that so badly you want to possess. But who says you don't already have that in this moment? And you might be thinking, well, yeah, of course I don't, because I'm feeling all these other emotions. I'm feeling the lowness and the depression and the anxiety and the doubt and the fear and all of that, right? All those heavy emotions, you're experiencing it. So how can you possibly also experience the joy, the gratitude, the abundance, all these lighter emotions? But because we can hold space for the two. And by allowing ourselves to be where we are and to validate the experience, the difficult experiences that we are having, as we validate that, as we sit with it, as we show, my other phone here, as you show nurturance to all that heaviness, you ultimately make space to also feel the lighterness. Because when you avoid how you're feeling and you try to distract yourself, or you're too caught up in, missing this reality that you're transitioning out of, you create more resistance around your body because you're not letting yourself feel what you want to, because you're too focused on what you should be doing or what is that next step to recreate that safety inside yourself. So you feel all these crazy emotions, but to recreate that safety within yourself really comes back to you, to coming back to yourself, to connecting with your body, to noticing the tension in your body, to notice the emotions that are coming up, the beliefs that are coming up, literally noticing it all in the moment. And this work can be very complex and challenging. And this is why I provide the services that I provide. And this is one of those tiers, is to doing the body work, is to reconnecting with the sensations that you're feeling, understanding it so you can actually release it where it doesn't continue to weigh on you anymore. So I feel like there was just so much that was said. But this comment, like, having hope that there is more is a beautiful thing, because there is always more. But it also makes me think, what is stopping you from feeling this hope, or not feeling the hope, but using the hope that you have about the future in this moment by being more patient with where you are, by being able to find grace within your current situation, right? Like, how can you make all this heaviness feel a little bit easier and feeling more gentle to move through? How can you do that? What does that look like for you? Not anyone else, but for you. And by exploring this grace that you can offer in your current situation, it leads me to the next question of, what would nurturing this specific pain that you're going through also look like? Because showing yourself grace is also how you nurture yourself, how you nurture this emotion, this experience, this transition that you're going through. So I just want to say that the state that you view yourself in the future, the position you would like to be in, I want to tell you that you're already there. Even though you don't feel like it, even though it feels heavy, you're already there. Why? Because you've already started to make a step forward. You're no longer within the situation that you're in. Even if You were the one that was laid off, right? That situation is out of your control, right? But being in this transition as well, going through a situation that is out of your control ultimately puts you in a situation that favors you, right? That favors your desires. So being in a situation that is out of your control allows you to then reconnect to, well, what do I actually want to do? What can I do now with this, with my life? Now that I have this extra time, now that I'm not in the job that I no longer like, what can I do now? And it gives you an opportunity to create that expansive growth within yourself, to reconnect with your mission in life, with the things that bring you passion and fulfillment, and the things that you've always wanted to do, but maybe you haven't been able to for whatever reason, right? Maybe this job, for example. So even if you find yourself in a transition of life where the situation was out of your control, it's still an opportunity. It's still an opportunity to cultivate whatever you want. Hello, ladies. Thanks for joining, for hopping on. We're talking about the standard of healing, which there is none, there is nothing, there is no plan, there is no steps towards healing, towards reconnecting with yourself, towards self-development, however you want to call it. There is no standard. And this is why I named this title The Standard of Healing, because there's none. So it's like, how awesome is that? But pretty much what I want to really just get across is that since there is no standard of healing, you really have like this open space to explore, to allow your journey to be your journey and not the journey that it's been for everyone else, right? Like I just shared. Hey, Jess. Thank you, ladies, for hopping on. But like I shared before, just 5 years ago, I ended an abusive, toxic relationship, and now I'm engaged. Like, this is wild. This is wild stuff. And my healing journey I imagine, is different from everyone else's that's here tuning in, right? Our journey is going to look different because we go through different experiences, but what unites us is the emotions, the beliefs that we go through the pain that we experience, through these transitions that we go through. But what we can do, thank you, Daniela, thank you. But what we can do is focusing on our path of healing, towards our path of reconnecting towards ourselves, and giving us that space to figure out what's that going to look like for me specifically, or for you specifically as an individual. So just everything that you've learned up to this point, everything that you're experiencing, like, you can kind of throw it out the window, because it really comes down to you to pick and choose what works specifically for you and what gives you that hope in this moment while you're in this transition, while you're feeling very low, while you're just not in the best place that you want to be in. How do you still hold on to that hope, reminding yourself that this is temporary, that you can get through this? How can you also cultivate that patience for yourself? How can you nurture yourself and show yourself a different way of caring through the pain, managing it? That's always going to look different for all of us. So that is pretty much what I wanted to share today about this standard of healing, or self-discovery, self-development, however you want to call it. And just realizing that there is no standard. I have Sandy, how to cope when the toxicity from which you are running away to starts afresh is chasing you blindly. Like, do you mean like what happens when a toxic situation comes back up in your life? Is that what you're talking about? Let's see what Sandy says. But I mean, either way, it's a valid point. That, and also thank you, Sandy, for sharing. I love when the lives are interactive and you share your thoughts. So I appreciate it. And I mean, in life, we're always going to be triggered. There's always going to be a situation, whether that reminds us of a past toxic situation, whether it be from a different person, whether it be from that initial person that created all this toxicity within our life, and that we also matched, right? Because I feel that when we are in a toxic situation, it takes two. It takes two, and you ultimately end up matching that toxicity as well by your how you respond in those situations too, which most likely isn't the most healthiest, right? Because you're just so focused in wanting to be respected and wanting to have those boundaries, but in that moment when you don't have the self-awareness that you need to know what the boundaries are and know how you want to be respected, it's just going to come out anyway. That's when it comes out aggressively and impulsively, and just the complete opposite of what we want, and also the complete opposite of our character and who we are as people. So since we're always going to be triggered, like I said, whether it be from that initial person, whether it be from a different situation, but there's similar kind of characteristics coming up, the triggers are never ending. So it really comes back to you knowing yourself, knowing how to cope through, because it's not necessarily having to fix the situation that you're in, because you can't fix other people. You can't control them and you can't control their actions. It comes back to you and you being able to understand how you can cope through your triggers, how you can not fall down that like rabbit hole of reacting in the same ways that you've reacted in the past that you may feel guilty about, or you may feel some shame around, and thinking about how can I react differently? How can I protect my energy now? How can I be respected? How can I set those boundaries? What is that going to look like for me, right? And whatever comes to your mind, it may not even be the right way. Like, we're so focused on needing to know all the answers, right? So with this whole standard of healing, we're like, okay, I'm going to follow all these steps that I've been told, right? We want to do it right. But sometimes we have to fuck up. We have to leave this space to make mistakes and to mess up. So when you are maybe speaking to the person that you're feeling triggered by, and you are trying to set these boundaries, and you are trying to let that person know to respect you in a certain way, when you express that the first time around, since it's something new, you might not even express it in the right way that you want to, or you still might not get the results that you do. But just because you don't doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. You know, it's more of it being a lesson, and more being an opportunity to help you think about, well, okay, maybe I didn't say that the right way. That's not really what I meant. So it helps you dig deeper and to be more curious, to get that clearer answer of, you know, what do these boundaries actually look like? So I wanted to share that, you know, with everyone here, that as you are figuring out how to behave in a way that is more aligned to you, not even behave differently, because it's not about being different, it's about being authentic. So when you as you're figuring out that process of what that looks like, there's going to be trial and error until you figure out what actually is a behavior or reaction or response that is authentic to you and the person that you are, based on the values that you have, right? So there was something else that was coming through that I wanted to say that comes back down to this trial and error. And I don't know, it slipped my mind, but maybe it'll come back to me later today. But Sandy, I hope this answers your question. And and you can always message me separately if you have any other questions, and anybody else hopping on this live, if you have any other questions about just relationships, toxic relationships, about mindset, about ultimately creating this fulfilled life that you desire, message me, because these topics are my jam, and these topics are ultimately what I focus on as a coach and what I help my clients with. So that was it. Moral of the story is there's no standard to healing. And the healing journey, or how I like to call it, more the self-discovery journey, because you're just coming back to yourself, can look like however you want it to look like, with ups and downs and mistakes, and just knowing that it's not going to be this linear, smooth journey. There's going to be these ups and these downs. So how can you feel excited, not even feel excited, but how can you appreciate the difficult moment that you're in, knowing that it's gonna take you to places you would have never imagined? Like I said, I was in an abusive relationship just 5 years ago. I decided to take a different chance for myself, moved abroad, loved it. I'm currently still in Spain, loved it, had to go back to New York, came back, and I haven't, I've been here permanently about 3 years ago. So, and now I'm engaged. So it's like, you never know the type of shifts that your life can make from you being in this current transition right now, where everything feels so heavy and toxic and just difficult. So know that the position you wish to be in the future is now. You are in that position now, even if it doesn't feel like that. So we can explore this further. I do offer 90-minute connect calls where it's all about you reconnecting with yourself, learning what that means, and just talking about the blocks that you're currently experiencing and how to move through that. So we can always talk some more about this on those chats, or you can message me separately and we can have a nice, just general open chat. So thank you so much for everybody that hopped on. This has been so much fun. I'm enjoying these lunchtime lives and plan to do so more this week. So I will see you throughout this week.